What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 14 of Shots on Target with your host, Brad Betts. Let's go, Brad Morris. I agree. With your host, Brad Betts, where we analyze the top matches of the day in the world of football, and we always provide you with a best bet play of the day. Today is Thursday, September 12th. We missed our play of the day this morning as we hit two of the three of our legs. We got that first half goal. We've got the BTTS, but we failed to hit that 2.5 goals as Adelaide missed a breakaway inside the six where the attacker, instead of opening up his body and just slotting it either side of the keeper, he decides to hit it quickly with the outside of his foot right at the keeper. Unlucky. It's the first match in 25 matches that Western Sydney hit both teams to score and did not hit that over 2.5 goals. Tough luck. It's why we bet half a unit during the break. We're going to continue to keep it small for one last day. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into our first league that we want to highlight, which is the Mexico La Liga. Before we hop over to Israel's National League, highlight the league and give you a best bet and get us out on with the day before we move on to tomorrow. So let's drop in. Mexico right now comes in hitting BTTS in 17 and 5. So over the last 22 matches, they hit BTTS in 17. That's at 77%. In the last 21 matches, they're 16 and 5 to the over 2.5. And in Mexico specifically, over 1.5 has hit in 30 of the last 31 matches. That is incredible production. We're going to be looking at a couple teams then, because we're going to see Mexico holistically, but there's a couple teams that you want to be focused on that are actually performing really well. We've got Juarez, who's hit over 2.5 goals in all 6 of their matches thus far this season. They've also given up 2+ goals in those 6 matches, so they're conceding regularly, hitting that over regularly. You've got Tijuana, who's hit both teams to score and over 2.5 in 6 of their first 7. Universidad Nacional, they've hit BTTS in 5 of their first 6. Club Leon, a high performer always. BTTS starting out strong in 5 of 6. Puebla, BTTS in 5 of 7, and San Luis, BTTS and over 2.5 in 5 of their first 7. So we have some really high performers performing well, coming in form. Now that we're in between week 7 and week 8, you've started to see some of these teams settle, get a couple matches under the belt, kind of understand what each team has to offer. So those are some teams we want to highlight. I'm going to be back tomorrow. There was an early edge bet that I gave out exclusively this morning. So those people are going to have that early. We're going to then drop it again tomorrow, most likely. And if not, we'll drop it again before Friday night. Don't worry. We'll be back with that bet. But we're going to go ahead for time's sake because we need to get into this to have most people allowed to be able to get this bet because it's coming up at 11 a.m. But we're going straight into Israel's Leumit and or National League, depending on what your book says. We've been tailing this league nonstop. It has very similar numbers to the Mexico League, which we just highlighted. BTTS is 18 and 4 coming into this season. And we've only played 22 matches. That's at 82%. Really solid production. Over 2.5 is 16 and 6. That's at 73%. Very solid. And the over 1.5 is at 21 of the first 22 matches. So regular production, we're seeing goals come in each match, even when the BTTS didn't come in, that over 2.5 or over 1.5 was coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 2 matches specifically. And after this morning and the result that we had, I'm going to eat a little bit of juice, try to save us for this last day break. We're still on a half a unit before we push into club ball. We're going to take the 2-goal parlay in 2 matches, which I have written up here on the board because these names are so difficult. I want to make sure you don't screw anything up since we don't have any graphics. But Hapoel Al-Fan comes in scoring in 9 of their last 11 and conceded in 11 straight. They've hit over 2.5 in 8 straight. They've hit over 1.5 in 11 straight. They're taking on a Hapoel Naf Hagalil, Hagalil. They've scored in 26 of their last 29, and they've conceded in 10 of their last 13. But they've also conceded in 18 of their last 19 when they're away from home. Regular conceders, regular scores, playing a team that can't keep a clean sheet. Also, they've hit over 1.5 goals, Hopewell, in 26 of their last 29 matches. You're seeing overs regularly with them, especially in that 2-goal market. And these two have played one another in the last 3 matches. They hit BTTS and over 2.5 in all 3. So I like goals to come from this match, but we're going to dumb it down a little bit and parlay 1.5 over 1.5, which you can see is at minus 400. And we're going to take it with that Maccabi Herzliya. These are both 2 teams we played on Monday, but Maccabi Herzliya come in scoring in 27 of their last 34 regular. They've conceded in 12 straight, and they've hit over 1.5 in 13 straight. They're taking on a Hopewell Rishon Legion, scored in 15 of their last 20 and conceded in 15 of their last 20 and conceded in 15 of their last 17. Scored 15-20, conceded 15 of the 17. They've hit over 1.5 goals in 10 of their last 11. And then you look at the matchup history in a similar performing bout with the previous one. They've hit both teams to score in 7 of their last 9 and over 2.5 in 8 of their last 12. So we're seeing goals, but instead of trying to go for a third match to knock down the juice, these were my 2 favorite of the 5 that we're playing today. So we're going to take the minus 300 for Maccabi Herzliya over 1.5. Parlay that with the minus 400 in the Hopewell Alfam game. Those 2 together, minus 150. That gives us a pretty good odds probability of it coming in without adding something that could negatively affect us. I do see all 5 hitting the over 1.5. Let's be honest, that's at plus 200, but I'm not going to go there today. After what happened this morning, we're going to try and take it as safely as we can for our last match before club ball returns this weekend. That concludes today's episode of Shots on Target with your host, Brad Betts, where we analyze the world of football from the goal market perspective all around the world and provide you a best bet. We'll be back tomorrow with a guest host, Andrew from the Plus Money Pod. He's going to come in and talk extensively about a lot of the top matches in the world, especially highlighting the Premier League. He's great, has lots of insight, very good in the gambling market. So we're going to be welcoming him tomorrow. We got a ton to go over, tons of best bets. So I expect you guys to come back tomorrow, especially if you want a lot more content. Tomorrow's going to be labor intensive. Thanks again for coming today. I wanted to jump in. We have Sean Ritchie here, of course. I appreciate you. Brad Morris, my man, always here. The regulars, Russell Johnson. Thank you guys for coming to support. There's a lot that is going on in the morning, but a lot of these clubs are returning right back. So we don't want to go too heavy. In the first weekend back, I love to take live bets. So make sure you're in the Telegram and keeping up with that, because that's where most of my plays will be this weekend. We'll try and keep it small. But again, we're going to welcome somebody great tomorrow to really help pick the entire weekend apart. Thunderstruck, thanks for coming in right before the time ends. Let's get this stream done and let's get into our next bet at 11 a.m. and then we'll look to the weekend. Thanks again. I'll see you guys tomorrow.